So I woke up. The next day I woke up, and I woke up happier than I had been in a long time. And that's a strange thing to say when you're sitting in jail. I woke up and I had a pep in my step, and I'm like, God's got me. You showed me what I needed. You came for me. I can do this. If I've got you, I can do this. You came through for me. You came through for me, this sinner. I'm making this video as a testimony, share my story, to give hope to those who are still out there. It was 2 days before the court date, and I remember I had roommates who were using pills and heroin. I was alone that day, and I was laying on this old blow-up mattress, bits and pieces of my life in boxes surrounding me. And I laid down on that bed, and I just started screaming at the top of my lungs. I was so depressed, and I was so lost, and I was so afraid. I had this idea that I was going to go to court and be put on probation and everything would be okay, but something inside was telling me that that just wouldn't be the case. And so while I'm lying on this mattress with nobody around, I found myself screaming to the sky. And at the time, I didn't believe in God. I didn't want anything to do with religion. I made some friends, people who are atheists, who are just like, oh, all that God stuff, that's just to keep people in line and keep moral values in place. But that day, a couple days before my court date, I found myself lying on that mattress. And I'm just gonna say it, I'm gonna go for it. F you. F you. How could you bring me to this place in my life? How could you let this happen? I'm flipping off heaven, and I'm screaming at a God that I didn't even believe in. How could I be so mad at a God that I didn't even believe in? So I'm sent to, for the first time, never been to jail before, never been in handcuffs, never been in a cop car. I've heard stories, but I've never experienced it for myself. I don't know when I'm going to be home again. I went crazy in jail. My poor mother driving her nuts, just get me out of here. There's nothing that she could have done. There's nothing anybody could have done. I was stuck there, but I was just in my own insanity. I was doing things, anything that I could do to get out of the cell. They had rec time, people coming who would read the Bible to us, and even though I kind of was repelled from the Bible, I needed to get out of that cell. And so I went, and I met this woman. Her name was Diane. She gave me a booklet, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And she said, any of you women would like to give your life over to the Lord today, just repeat this prayer after me and say it with all your heart, all your mind, all your spirit. Give it your all. And basically, I promise you, you won't regret it. Lord, forgive us for our sins. A lot of you probably have heard that prayer, but I hadn't at the time. And so I did, and all of a sudden I just started sobbing, and I mean like that ugly, crying, snot dripping, sobbing, like, if this is real, and you are really there, and you are really looking out for me, then I want all that you have for me. That day I cried out to God. After that, I went back to K-Pod, which is just a room full of women and our really thin mattresses, and I had my book. I had my little book, and that night I had my book, and I started to pray, and I really started to pray. I remember saying, Lord, if you're real and you're the God of the universe, and this is really true, if this is really true, then I know without a shadow of a doubt that you can hear me and you are listening to me. So I need you to show me who you are, and I need you to show me what to do, because I am miserable and I don't know where my life is headed. I just kind of dove into that book. I prayed every day, and I prayed with my whole heart, believing and waiting. I was waiting. I don't know what I was waiting for. That night that I had prayed that, I'm just like, I need you to show me. I gotta know. I gotta know what you're about. I gotta know if this is real. And I can't just believe something that I can't see. The next day is when I went to go leave for my rider. Now, when you leave for your rider, they stop in a few different places. You pick more people up, you stop, you stay in a holding cell, you use the restroom. You're shackled in a bus. It's not a cushy bus. You're sitting on metal seats. It was over an 8-hour drive. You're shackled. You're in an orange jumpsuit. We went to work. That was great because we got TV. I got real coffee. They don't have coffee in jail, you guys. I had coffee. I had real food. Wow. I started reading again because in my youth I stopped reading, I stopped painting, I stopped writing. I'm a very artistic person and I stopped all of it. Started to get back into these things. We're driving and I'm watching the signs, right? I'm in my I'm shackled up. I don't know any of these people. I've got these guys in prison who are hollering and trying to get me to turn around and look at them, and I'm just like, I don't belong here. I don't belong here. I have a very sweet spirit. I always have. I've made mistakes, but I just felt like I did not belong there. And so I'm watching the signs, waiting. When are we going to get to the place where I was going to start my rider? My rider would start and there would be a light at the end of my tunnel, right? A light at the end of the tunnel and I can start living life again. They make a stop and I think, oh, they're just dropping people off, picking people up, whatever they're doing. I'm just going to sit here and wait patiently because I'm about to go start my rider, right? Go start this rider and the rider's about 3 months. I'm ready for this. They were calling names to get off the bus, and all of a sudden they called my name to get off of the bus to go in county jail. So it's huge. I was paralyzed, and this was just such a moment for me. I'm thinking, I see the light at the end of my tunnel, and all of a sudden that light was dimmed, and it was dimmed quickly. Down the steep prison bus steps, ankles bound in hard, cold metal cuffs. A clink from the chain connected to the cuffs dropped down with each step, reminding her of her most recent failures. As she took the last plunging stride from the steps to the concrete, she balanced herself. She trudged along with the rest of the inmates, following each other in a single file fashion, gathering in a long line against a gray stone wall next to 5 correction officers. What am I doing here? They were separated by 3s and placed into 5x5 holding cells, each cell containing 1 dirty metal toilet and a moist roll of toilet paper. I don't think I'm in the right place. I'm supposed to be starting the rider program. I do not belong here. There's been a mistake. Hope stirring in the pit of my stomach that she can figure out this mistake. He said, I'll see what I can find, and slammed the doors. I don't know how many of you have been to prison, but those doors are loud. You can hear people scream. It's awful. So we wait around in that holding cell for, I don't know, probably about 3 hours. They get us in, they get our fingerprints, they take our pictures. This is where this picture was taken. It's the only one I could get my hands on, but there's several out there, and ironically enough, like, that's the best looking one. This is the best looking one. So I'm waiting around. She comes back and she says, you're on a state hold. And I said, okay, well, what does that mean? What is a state hold? And she says, they're not ready for you to start the rider, so you're stuck here for a while. And I said, well, how long is a while? She said, listen, you could be stuck here for 2 weeks. You could be stuck here for 6 months. I really don't know. Just deal with it. I spiraled. Deepest, darkest depression that I have ever known. I'm thinking, my mom doesn't know that I'm here. I had no money to call anybody. They led me and 3 other women into another holding cell before we could go into the big pod where all the other women were waiting for whatever they were waiting for. And I get in there. I had to pee. I look into the bathroom area, which is open. Everyone can see everything. There's no privacy in jail. There's no privacy in prison. The first thing I notice is pink fuzz surrounding the toilet. Oh my God. Okay, I can hold it. Maybe I won't have to be in this room for so long. I didn't know these women. They were coming off of drugs right then and there. They're just off their rocker like I was in the beginning. I laid down. I made my bed. They give you sheets. As I'm making my bed, I found nails. I found dirty acrylic nails in my bed. They always stuck me on the top bunk, which you literally have to climb up. So I get up in my bed, I clean up all of the nasty acrylic nails from some girl that I don't even know. I'm laying there, I'm sobbing because I don't know why I'm there. I notice on the wall, I'm laying there, I'm having peace, I'm praying to this Jesus that I'm just getting to know, and I open my eyes, all this just crazy poetry written all over the walls. The room was filthy, disgusting. If I wanted to use the restroom, I had to walk around a puddle that surrounded the entire bathroom because anytime someone wanted to wash their hands or take a drink of water, it was broken. So the water spout spilled over the edge and made a huge puddle on the floor. Oh, and I also would like to say, when I took my first shower, and one of the girls, I didn't know, she threw my shoes in there with me. And I said, "Hey, what are you doing?" She said, "What, you want to get MRSA?" Oh my God. Okay, so I humbly slip my shoes on, I shower, I cry some more. Don't go to jail. Just don't do drugs. Don't go to jail. You don't want to go there. So anyway, so a girl there lent me some of her money so that I could make a phone call so I could let my mother know where I was at. She's like, "Oh my gosh, I was worried. I was worried because you're on a bus." It was November. I think it had started snowing. It was pretty icy. She was worried. She hadn't heard from me, and now she knew where I was. So once I'm done in that disgusting little pod, I go into another. This one is full of over 100 women. I didn't know anybody. Small fish in a sea of sharks. And if people don't like you, they're not afraid to tell you. So I kept quiet, I kept to myself, I read my books. Like I said, I slipped into a horrible depression. I started to give up on this Jesus guy. He wasn't helping me. He wasn't filling me with peace that I needed. Not at all. Just when I thought I reached out to God and I was let down, I'm put in this horrible place and I don't know how long I'm gonna be there. So I had been there a week, and one night I was just praying my heart out, and I fell asleep. And I fell into a deep sleep, enough to dream. I was actually dreaming of being in prison. I've got all my dirty clothes, and I'm ready to put my dirty clothes in the hamper, grab clean sheets, grab clean scrubs, when all of a sudden, I feel a hand, a hard hand on my shoulder, and I feel it, someone's grabbing me. And so I thought, who is this? Who wants my attention? What? And I look up, and that's when I saw the face of Jesus for the first time. And I looked around. I didn't know I was dreaming, but I looked around at all these other women holding their laundry and talking about small-minded things and just whatever, and I looked around in awe, like, can you see this? Do you see this? Jesus is here. Jesus is here. Do any of you could, like, I couldn't even speak, and his hand just stayed right on my shoulder, and I looked back up at him. I didn't feel shame. I felt love. And in that moment, when I saw that no one else was paying attention, and he looked at me and he smiled, I knew he was there for me. He was there for me. When they say he leaves the 99 to go after the one, he left the 99 and he went after me. Jesus was there for me. So I woke up. The next day I woke up, and I woke up happier than I had been in a long time. And that's a strange thing to say when you're sitting in jail. I woke up and I had a pep in my step, and I'm like, God's got me. You showed me what I needed. You came for me. I can do this. If I've got you, I can do this. You came through for me. You came through for me. This sinner. The amazing thing is, I left for my rider that next day. I was only on a state hold for 1 week. Whew.